Hi, Hara family. Greetings. Hello, welcome. So, I only have one deck with me. I have, of course, Nine of Cups, Judgment, Four of Swords, the Lover, Nine of Swords, Two of Cups, the World, Nine of Wands, Ten of Wands, Ace of Cups, the Magician, Three of Swords, the Hermit, Seven of Wands, Seven of Cups, Six of Wands, and the Fool. Cool. Four of Cups, the Knight of Swords, Page of Swords, and the Queen of Pentacles, 11, Eight of Wands, Three of Wands, King of Wands. Oh, that was the Queen of Pentacles. Queen of Pentacles, Eight of Wands, Three of Wands, King of Wands, Two of Wands. I'm gonna read this whole deck. King of Pentacles. Cool. Anyway, I'm not exactly sure what I'm doing today. I kind of wanted to do something. Ooh, Temperance at the kind of that's Sagittarius. I kind of wanted to do something for like Aquarius season. I think the new moon is on the 29th, so we're almost to the year of the snake. New moon in Aquarius. Ooh, Nine of Cups, Ace of Pentacles, gorgeous energy. I don't know. Usually, when I read, I don't necessarily read to/for a specific person unless it's for a specific person. Right. And it's like reading to someone, reading to the collective, reading to an energy, reading to whatever. But the last time, maybe the last time after I finished, I was like, who is this for? Not necessarily in a bad way. Page of Swords and the Empress. But I feel like there are some things, depending on the message or the vibe of the message, maybe. It's like my audience is larger on the Legacy channel, right? Um, and so for something of impact or import, like it would, depending, make more sense to do it over there, which is originally the reason why I went back to the Legacy channel because some of the energy started kind of feeling that way. But anyway, excuse me, the question crosses my mind. I'm like, okay. But the next day, I see like two or three videos. Um, and one of them, I don't know if I've necessarily communicated. I don't even know if I necessarily have the words to communicate why I'm sort of, at least at the time, stepping away or taking a step back, taking a seat on the Legacy channel. Um, but again, it honestly, well, it felt like it was a time where the work is going to work for us in some way, shape, form, and capacity. At first, I was like, it feels like it's F around and find out season. But that was because I didn't have the capacity at the time, I guess, to try to frame it a different way. When I did, it was like, I mean, it kind of is F around and find out season, but it's also like a time where the work works for us. The work that we've done will now work for us. That's what it was feeling like. And also, personally, mm, I feel like whenever in the past, and maybe this is like a Patrick thing, whenever I've like heard, ooh, Nine of Swords, Five of Pentacles, the Chariot, whenever I've heard, let's say, like, I go through phases of like, phases sort of like watching different people. But whenever I hear people, multiple people, excuse me, especially like the light workers or the empaths or whoever, talk about like love in a way of like, oh, the experience is going to be one of love or whatever. I I feel like I don't want to say a red flag for me, but I get a little concerned and worried for what that means for the collectives that they read for because of a human's concept of love versus a higher whatever being slash the divine concept of love. Like it feels like love when it comes to the divine and love when it comes to a human or humanity are like different. And it almost feels, it doesn't feel, it almost to me seems like humanity just by and large, I don't know. Maybe it's like love for humanity almost feels ambiguous or abstract, where to the divine, to me, it seems, or I would assume, that it's like more concrete. Like it feels like there's a almost finiteness, even as grand as we talk about love. There's almost like a finiteness or a strictness in definition um, that is just like different. So also, I've been every now and then. It's been a while, but I think of like the cost of things or the price of things in terms of like, let's say that we are manifesting something, but in order to receive that manifestation, like there are things in our life that is going to change as a result, or there are things that like need to shift in order for the actualization of the manifestation for things to like fall into alignment. And so that's another reason why, or another factor on like when I hear people, when the light workers start talking about love, I get a little concerned. Because again, it's almost like because of the disparity sometimes with us as humans, it's like what would it take for the average person in a collective of people to reach a point where they are like truly loving? And again, I think that we all think that we're loving people. Like if you back in the day, especially, would get on your social media, um, and there is a post that like not everyone is as loyal as you, not everyone has your kind heart, not everyone is as nice as you, not everyone is as genuine or generous as you. That's literally shared by everybody. So literally everyone thinks that they are that kind, compassionate, genuine person. But it's like if that were the case, then we would all be that person and it would almost invalidate the statement. And I think because of us, it's sometimes love is a lot more local. Like I remember someone, and I'm not going to say they're wrong. Um, Someone shared on their social media, somebody that I've been following for a while, um, that like this year they were going to be taking a break because they're tired of people like sending them stuff that they should be cared about. And they were like, these people are far removed from me. They have nothing to do with me. I like, shouldn't have an empathic sort of like load or burden, or I shouldn't have to care about what happens to people that I don't even know. And so again, it's almost like if and it's a mentality that's held by at least a few people. Like, oh, I'm far removed. That's on another side of the world. Why don't we worry about what's going on over here? Like I mean, it's not something personally that I subscribe to. And maybe that's another lesson. I mean, that's definitely a lesson in some things. Um, it's not something that I subscribe to as a person where it's like, well, instead of caring about this, we should care about something like more important. Like there are more important things happening in the world, or there are like, well, that doesn't concern you. It doesn't affect you. That's happening on the other side of the world, and it's almost like we can only care about one thing at a time. Like I feel like it does a massive disservice to the capacity that we as people can have. Maybe at the very least, when we're not constantly told that we're not allowed to worry about one thing or another because there are more important things that are happening. Like we're allowed to be concerned about multiple things. I would hope that we have the capacity to be concerned about multiple things. And there are approaches that have the power to address multiple things. But as long as we are convinced to one by one by one by one, then of course progress and things are going to be a lot slower. But more so if the commonly held belief is like, well, this is something that doesn't affect me. This is someone that I don't know. I'm far removed from this. But we're supposed to be collectively moving towards an energy of like love and greater collective energies. Then again, it's the question of like, what is the price to get there? What will it take for someone who, and again, like nothing against this particular person or anybody who thinks or feels like this, is just a question of what it would take for someone like that to actually begin to care about those who they consider to be far removed from them. If we are moving towards this love for a greater collective of humanity, or like, you know what I mean? And again, like that's the reason why I get kind of like nervous sometimes. Um, because it's like, and maybe that's just how I mean, I've journeyed enough of my journey and I've lived enough of my life and I've done enough shadow work or whatever to know that sometimes it's like if you're, where's the Ten of Wands? It's like if you're gonna get to that castle, sometimes you got to go into the like the dark woods and the this other place and that other place to get there. Like it's a journey to get there. If we're not there, it's a journey to get there. And what's the price of it, right? What has to happen to us as people in order to get us to care enough for that world where we all love each other and show up for each other is a reality. And unfortunately, it seems that our greatest motivator for community and for bonding is grief, misfortune, tragedy. Unfortunately, we have to, it seems, sometimes personally suffer something, or we have to personally know someone in order to like care or to be able to empathize or to be able to show compassion. And of course, on my part, it's a great hope that we can just like care without needing to have our hearts sort of like broken open, you know, or expanded in a way. Because again, sometimes it happens through love, like a birth of a child or a fateful encounter with someone becoming important to us. But yeah, oof, death. And the King of Wands, the Two of Wands, Four of Cups, Knight of Swords, Six of Cups. Yeah. So anyway, that's just something that's been sort of like on my mind for the past maybe week or so, passively on my mind, not constantly. Um, like if the loving, bright, happy future is true, that is forecasted, what would it cost for humanity today, for us as individuals within the greater collective today to reach a point where we contribute to that or where that is our reality. Um, and then yesterday, I saw one video that was like, I don't know, I have a weird relationship with Hierophants. I saw another video where someone was like, in the comments, they were like, there was someone that they sort of looked up to as a guru who I don't know. It sounded like I don't know anything. Like this is somebody whose name is very like whatever. And people are like, oh, this name, whatever. I just haven't sat through a lot of his stuff. I mean, I'm interested, but apparently not enough. Um, but from some of the other comments, like it sounds like the person doesn't like tell people to make them a guru, to make them their guru, or to follow them. Um, but they were like, oh, I used to follow this person and I used to hang on to their every word until I realized that like some of it doesn't resonate for me, which is entirely possible. That's again, but that's like why my relationship with the Hierophant or Hierophantic energies, or just like kind of sort of showing up, is as strained. Seven of Swords is as weird as it is because people, it's like we as people have a tendency to put on pedestals and hold in high regard and make gurus and mentors and hierophants out of people if we feel that if we feel that they are like more proficient in something. Like if we view them as an expert, then we almost kind of sort of sometimes elevate them to this infallible status, and like everything they say is gospel. Like here's this wildly successful business person, so every single thing that they have to say about business is obviously true, because if it weren't, how would they be so successful? Or here's this person that seems like they are whatever, in a more spiritual sense. This person seems like they are have ascended, or their vibration is so much higher than mine. So like we as people have a tendency to create hierophants out of people, and I don't want to be hierophanted. I don't want to be made someone's guru. I don't want for someone to have a choice or decision in their life, or a question about their path or whatever, and them like defer to my judgment. Now it's different when you like ask someone's opinion or you ask for someone's insight or perspective. That's completely different. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like people who can be like in the church, there is a pastor or a preacher, and they treat like the pastor, the word of the pastor, as if it's the word of God. Now, theoretically, and maybe this applies for the channelers, theoretically, the word of the pastor or preacher should be the word of God, but also at the same time, the pastor preacher is like human. And so it's not. Even if it's spoken through the mouth of, like, even if it is the word of God, it's almost like once it passes the lips of a human, then it's the word of man. Um, and nobody's perfect. We are all on journeys. We are all like learning doesn't necessarily stop. Growing doesn't necessarily stop. It doesn't mean anything beyond that. Um, but but that's like the power of the Hierophant. And I don't like want that. So anyway, I saw one video and it was like the video, she was basically saying like, a teacher doesn't hold an entire class back because one person is like struggling, or like if one person fails, the teacher doesn't hold the entire class back. And like the message is what the message is. And I sort of took it as, because there was not a palpable frustration, but a feeling almost of like And again, it's like a feeling of someone taking something that doesn't resonate for them and almost like forcing it to fit. And me feeling like, oh, well, since I'm the one that said whatever, then it kind of sort of falls on me. Again, it's not my responsibility to be anyone else's discernment, um, or whatever to make anyone's choices or decisions. And so I was like, okay. But then I saw another video that talked about the martyry side of Pisces, where it's like you kind of like want to save everybody or whatever, but you can't. And it's interesting because, again, what was that, 2 months ago now ish? I think about 2 months ago now. Um, there was that experience here where about like pain. Well, I guess on the Legacy channel, like y'all wouldn't know. Or not the Legacy channel, on the Higher Family wouldn't necessarily know unless you saw me on the Legacy channel, which most of y'all probably have. But anyway, it was a thing of like the importance of pain. And in the same video where it was like, if you're a teacher, you wouldn't fail the entire class because of one person. Um, she was also like, the divine had to take you through what the divine took you through in order for you to be where you are. And so who are you to try to like circumvent someone else's process? You know, we all have to experience, unfortunately, sometimes we all have to experience things for ourselves in order for us to reach a point where things change or where we make a certain choice and decision. Eve, hi, how are you? How's it going? I hope everything's going well. I am excitedly awaiting all of the good news. Um, but yeah, she was like, and it's interesting because it reminds me of something that Anam Car Messages Amanda said years ago, which was basically the same thing. Um, we all go through our lessons and we learn because of them. I'm glad to hear it. I am, not that you asked, but if you do, I'm doing well too. I have a few hours until I'm supposed to do stuff. Things are, I don't know. There are some things that I feel moving in the ethers, and I've never necessarily subscribed to that whole like, don't tell anybody what you're working on because someone's going to try to sabotage you, whatever. But there are some things that it's not that I'm like holding close to the chest. It's almost like I'm nurturing. There are some things that I'm nurturing right now before they are ready to be birthed and put out into the world. And so, I'm taking care of, I'm eating for 2 or 3, essentially. Um, but some very interesting developments have taken place, which I love. Um, and again, this Aquarius season, it was feeling like Aquarius season would be a big one, and potentially it's shaping up to maybe be so. I'll keep you updated and I'll let you know. But also at the same time, I'm working on a lot of my own internal processes. I'm staying like conscientious of the things that I've learned over the past 6 years now. Yes, over the past 6 years now. I'm staying conscientious of those things so that like I don't self sabotage and so that I stay in a mode to like receive and to be active, to be an active participant as well. So, you know, that's another reason why I'm just kind of sort of breathing through it at times. Um, yeah, so I am eagerly awaiting some developments. So, oh, snap. Okay. See, I was hoping slash had a feeling. Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. So, like, so wait. Okay. I'll send you a text. I hope I remember. But I will. That's exciting though. So like, does that move your timeline up then? Because I know you were saying it may take some time. Well, it's fine. We'll talk about it. Well, I guess because they're still the part of like the other stuff that you have to do. So maybe not necessarily, but I'm glad you got. First, I'm glad you got a yes, and second, I'm glad you got it quick. Um, Love that. That is like so exciting. Um, but yeah, so in that one video, she was like, she was and again, so like a few months ago now, it was like the importance of pain and how pain alerts us to the presence of something that is maybe not necessarily going right. And without that pain, we wouldn't know until things just like are basically over. And so that was the introduction to the whole like, you got to allow people to go through what they're going through. And you have to allow for things to happen as they're happening. And so, yeah, I guess maybe I'm like a little torn. Like, I feel like I should, like, I don't know, but every time I think about, like, I was going to read yesterday over here, but I'm like, not why necessarily. I don't know. It doesn't feel like a time. Again, maybe it's in all of the like, let the work work for you ness of what I was feeling. It's almost like there are some times, I guess, when we're in certain spots in life or in our learning where it's not necessarily beneficial to have an outside opinion or perspective or voice. Almost like in a moment of truly deciding for oneself what it is that they want, to have a voice in their ear could almost like sway or influence them a little bit. And it's an opportunity for someone to truly get what they want and not what someone else wants for them or through them. Um, Ooh, temperance is on the bottom now. So yeah, I'll just stay here. The dreams have been interesting. I had a really interesting dream last night. Justice and death. Oh my gosh. Oof. Let's just say Libra and Scorpio. The Hanged Man. Um, yeah, I don't know. This North Node Pisces. That's another thing too. I feel like I don't know. It's fine. That's not necessarily what this is about. And I think honestly, the question of like, who am I reading for over here? I feel like early, like the way that I read is similar on both this channel and the Legacy channel in terms of like pulling the cards, the lack of a spread that I'll use, or how I'll sometimes have an idea. But on the Legacy channel, it's more like almost reading for ambiguous person or ambiguous energy. But over here, at least in the beginning, it was more exploratory. And I haven't uploaded really over here in a minute. And so I'm like trying to find how I read over here again, if that makes sense. It's like, I don't know, I've done a few personal readings for people. And I feel like just like how all the videos sort of differ in my approach, when I do personal readings, it's kind of the same. And even if I do like multiple personal readings for the same person, they can be different. It's whatever it feels like in the moment. Um, and so I'm almost like used to reading in different ways sometimes. I will say though, I've noticed ever since I feel like the last few readings on this channel have been connected. And it's that it was the vessel, that golden ball, the clear whatever. And I remember like there was the mental visual of being in like a snowy forest clearing, but all of a sudden it's like the sun rises real quick and all the snow melts, and then like the grass is there, and then the flowers blossom, and then there were like woodland folk coming out of the trees. Um, and then the next time, I'm already forgetting. I forget what it was, but there was something in the next reading where afterwards I was like, oh, like that was that golden ball of like perspective, that clear or whatever. And then even with the ridge of the hunters, um, but it's almost like even with the feeling of the forest clearing, it was like being seen or being found more so than seeing and finding. But maybe it's oh gosh. I'm sorry. I just like looked outside and for some reason it almost seemed like the like world was like tilted. And I was like, oh, that just gave me a little bit of vertigo. Um that's so weird. Anyway, there was something about the abyss or the depths, and again, it was something about that perspective, that clear whatever. I forget what the card was specifically, um, but it was like something about. Oh, I was gonna say it's like not only to be seen by someone, but to also perceive, right? So afterwards, I was thinking about it because I think the visual came to my mind before the card came out. That was like the vessel, which was like this filling up, and it's this clear whatever that can go into whatever spaces or dimensions or whatever. Um, it is that like being seen, but also seeing. So, like, let's say that the woodland folk see people going through the forest all the time. Let's say there are like ghosts or spirits who frequent a place and people come and go in that place. And it's like, if you don't see me, I don't see you. But it's when like the eyes connect or that connection is there to both perceive and be perceived. Um, it's fine. Anyway, so yeah, I wanted to read for Aquarius season because it feels like it's going to be a big one, but I don't know how. I have been wanting to like get out. I brought this deck in particular. I also brought the lobster recipe playing cards that I got in Maine. I almost pulled those out. Um, but then it'll be like a lot of Googling to see like what's this in Lenormand, which is fine. Um, I almost brought them out, but I didn't. Um, the whole point of me bringing these was so that I don't buy a new deck. So I probably won't go on a field trip to buy a new deck of cards. Um, because I think the first time I went, I got the Clarity Tarot, which I think is in a box. Um, I mean, and then I had the thought to like read it as like a deck dungeon challenge. That was weird. I thought I just saw like a streak of light in the sky. It's fine. My eyes are like doing whatever they're doing as I'm looking outside. It's fine. Yeah, so I had this dream last night, and now I'm like, is that for me? Is that like, do I talk about it? Basically, the whole Moon River thing. What was it? Was it the flame? The mentor? I know it was the mentor and the river. I don't know. I think I was talking about North Node and Pisces. I honestly, like, I know we create our own realities and belief motivates a lot of that. But I feel like I don't know if this North Node Pisces, South Node Virgo. I don't know if it's like the South Node of Virgo. I don't know if it's Saturn being in Pisces while for the start of this North Node Pisces. I feel like I might be. I don't know. Maybe it was. I knew that this berry lemonade, or it's like a lemon and raspberry thing. It was good. I probably have had more sugar like right before I went live than I've had in a hot minute. Because I had two glasses of this. I had two almond croissants. They were so good. I was gonna get one, but I was like, I need another one. I don't know. And then they were like discounted if you bought two. I ate both of them, and I'm so glad I did because it was so good. So it could be like a sugar rush. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's like Saturn and Pisces, at least at the front end of North Node going in Pisces, but I don't know. I hear a lot of like positive, not necessarily positive, and I don't necessarily hear a lot. I just don't. I personally don't know what to expect from North Node Pisces, like globally. And I think that's something that I kind of sort of like personally struggle with sometimes is I don't want to say not caring about what happens to other people, but kinda. Like there have been moments in my life where like things are really good, and I know that it's not necessarily the same for other people. And like I am um but it makes me kind of like feel bad if I'm doing well and others aren't. Cause it's like genuinely I want like everyone to do well. And so maybe it's just my burden to bear or cross to carry, where it's just like focus on you, do what you're doing, whatever. Like again, it was that don't be the martyr, Pisces type of whatever. And, you know, it's almost like I can't be a good steward of my own happiness or a good steward of the things that are in my life and that come into my life if I'm like constantly, I don't know, I'm not necessarily great at not caring. Like I am, but then I'm not. Like the Taurus part of me sometimes is like, and then the Pisces is like, but, and the Taurus is like, and the Pisces is like, but sometimes the Taurus and the Pisces is on the same page, and then it's just like done, you know? That's the other polarity of Pisces, Two of Swords, the blind seer. With the Chariot, interesting, cool. You could say that that's Cancer energy because the moon is there too. But oh, and then Dreamland. See the Two of Swords, blind seer with the Chariot movement to Dreamland. I don't know. I don't know. Again, it's just like it's the price of things. Nine of Cups with the Dreamland. Um, and it feels like all the work that we have done, the Ten of Swords with Dreamland, it's reduced the price or the cost. because it already puts us in alignment with whatever is coming and happening or whatever. But it's alignment to a greater degree, which is again, I don't know. I don't know. It's fine. But yeah, so I guess I'm almost treating this as my personal 40-minute. Thanks for being here, Eve. As my personal like therapy session or whatever. Where I'm just like, because again, I don't know. It's like, it's almost like I want, maybe it's almost like I kind of like, in a way, almost like want to be of service, but know that I have nothing to offer. You know what I mean? Or like, again, it's not necessarily the time for an external voice or an external opinion, especially in North Node Pisces, especially in the energy of like one's deepest desires being possible. I should be working. It's fine. I was scrolling YouTube yesterday and there was a thumbnail for a video. I sent it to my friend and it was like, God said, do not look for a job. And I sent it to him and he was like, which God? But hey, like when you're in alignment or whatever, then you're in alignment or whatever. You don't gotta search for whatever. It comes looking for you. God said, don't look for work. I showed him this. Hold up, wait. How do I do this? How I do this? And then I zoom, and then I zoom, and then there we go. And then I zoom. It said, God said, don't look for work. And I said, say less. I'm kidding. Um, I don't know. There's an alignment of a lot of things. Things that it's interesting because within the past few months, well, I guess within the past 3 months ish, there have been things in my life that have almost come full circle or things that have come back. Some of the things I had high key given up on. And I was like, you know what? If I don't have this in my life, I know that it's still possible for me to be happy. So, and prospects aren't necessarily looking great. So it is what it is. And then there were other things that I was like warming up to the idea of, but it seemed like the route would have been like it would have been a journey to get there. And within the past 3 months, it seems like not only have I discovered some things that I just had honestly kind of sort of given up on, but also there are other things where it's like the journey there doesn't necessarily have to take as long as I thought. Almost like I could start now. And I didn't necessarily think it was possible because of I didn't think it was possible because of my life up until that point. My life up until that point didn't necessarily seem congruent with like going in the direction that I wanted to go in or that I was thinking about at that time. And so to be told that like I have background experiences that work really well and that like make me a good fit or that create alignment was completely shocking and surprising because I didn't think that was the case. I don't know. It's been such an interesting, yeah. I'm just like, okay, well, if you're ready to start, I'm ready to start. And there is almost, I need to watch it back. I want to watch it back because my word for 2025 is enact, which is a very action. I got a lot of Taurus in my chart that likes a certain pace, and I got a lot of Pisces in my chart that likes to nap and daydream. But there is a certain like active component of an act, which Anyway, but yeah, maybe I won't pull anything. I don't know. This kind of like maybe I will. Again, I could just pull. Well, maybe that's a message in and of itself. Like there's something of an almost surprising nature that is bound to happen. Because I feel like even if I had access to all of my decks, I feel like I don't have the cards to read this Aquarius season or to read whatever. Like I wouldn't even know where to start. Usually I just sit down and start pulling cards and hope it comes together. And fortunately, more often than not, it does. I guess I could just do that. I don't know. Sure. Why not? Why not? Let's go. Well, that's interesting. Oh, with the Queen of Wands. Okay, that's really interesting. Oh, and Dreamland. Okay, that's really interesting. I don't know. I just got this like vibe, and then I cut the deck and I see the Queen of Wands. I'm like, okay, cool. I mean, it is almost 4 o'clock. All I got to do today is take out the trash, and I think that's it. And that's not going to take long. I can take out the trash on the way. Oh, hmm. I'll have to figure that out. I was going to meet my friend, but now I don't know. Hmm. Anyway, it's fine. Sure, let's just pull. Let's just see. I feel like I just Nine of Swords, the Empress, and the Two of Wands and the Ten of Cups. That's so interesting. The Two of Wands is facing one way. We saw the Two of Wands facing in the same direction as the Ridge of the Hunters last time, facing the direction of whatever lies beyond the veil. But here's the Nine of Swords, and they're looking in opposite directions with this Empress energy. It's like one of hope and optimism, one of inevitable sort of like endings or misery. Now, the Two of Wands is looking at the Ten of Cups. As I'm looking at it, the Two of Wands is looking at the Ten of Cups. Ten of Cups is a very different energy than this Nine of Swords. Page of Pentacles off the cut. Cool. All right, sure. Let's see what's up. What is up with this Aquarius season? Maybe the Lunar New Year girlies, maybe they got it. I don't want to say maybe they got it right this year because that's a statement. But I guess I'm the type of person, I feel like there's no way to say this without further implication. So I'll just say don't read necessarily further into the statement. But I'm the type of person where it's like life begins, things begin before we can see it, right? Like the plant that eventually becomes the tree. I mean, it's alive when the seed sprouts and as the seed is pushing up towards the surface. So I don't see anything wrong, or I don't feel misaligned to a new year starting in the middle of winter because everything that you see in spring, like that is not the beginning of its life. It started as a seed under the ground. Uh, but I guess also it's to and even after it's born, there is a time of like immaturity, which I guess is Aries, Taurus, Gemini, before it reaches a maturity. There's a time of adolescence or youth. Page of Pentacles. So, I had an idea and I didn't bring the card, so I might go grab them. First of all, let's just. Ooh, okay. A card immediately flipped over and it's face down. I want to honor that. So, ooh, okay. And then the nine of. I've seen the nine of cups so much with judgment at the bottom of the deck. What's under judgment? The four of swords and the lover. I kind of love this energy. Because I mean, I was so the nine of cups came out, and then judgment is, and I was like, okay, well, is that judgment as in like you're getting what it is that you want, or is it judgment like no? So that's why I was like, well, what's behind judgment? Behind it is the four of swords and the lover. Behind the lover is the page of pentacles. So it is a very like don't sort of like work. Excuse me. Don't worry, don't stress, don't fret. Like things, it's almost like things that are in alignment are already sort of like queued up to happen. So God said, don't look for work. Work will find you. I don't know. But it's almost like that energy with the four of swords and the lover. It's like no need to stress about it. Or also, and or um, don't let external circumstances or the happening, a sequence of happenings, discourage you from believing that it can happen. The card that came out face down is the King of Cups. Wait. The King of Cups, the Nine of Cups, Judgment, the Four of Swords, and the Lover. I mean, the lover of the King of Cups is the Queen of Cups, so I feel like we should go looking for her. Also, the King of Cups is Scorpio. We saw justice and death. I was like, let's take it, Libra Scorpio. Um, Judgment is Pluto. Who behind the behind the Page of Pentacles is the Ten of Swords, but behind the Ten of Swords is the Ace of Swords and the Six of Pentacles. This is such an interesting energy. I feel like the Page of Pentacles, the Ten of Swords, and the Ace of Swords, it's almost a knowing and understanding that something had to end. Or it's like after the new thing, like the Page of Pentacles to me is interesting because as a page, it is like something new, new beginning, a messenger, whatever. But because it's Pentacles, because it's Earth, it either gives it uh, um a feeling of something that's going to be long lasting, or it's something that matures quickly, or something else, but it's basically the thing that matures quickly. Um, but for some reason, with this Page of Pentacles, I almost feel like we'll have to, like, whatever this new beginning in life is, it's almost like it's one of those things where we're in it for a little bit, in it for not necessarily a long time, but like once you're in it, once you make the move, once you get the job, once your day to day changes because of whatever new thing, it's like pretty soon into that, it's the knowing and realization that like in order for this to happen, like that other thing could not have continued. And that the Ace of Swords is that knowing that whatever Ten of Swords had to Ten of Swords in order for this Page of Pentacles to Page of Pentacles. Whatever ended had to end for whatever begins to begin. It's just like not conducive. Um, and then the Six of Pentacles, the Nine of Swords, and the Empress is behind that. Are we going to look for her? Are we going to look for her? Ooh, what is this? Hold up. I'm sorry. Whoa. I just ain't did the research yet. So I had a dream last night, and I was almost like it was a weird dream. And I told my friend because I'm staying with him, and then I told his wife because we talk about dreams together. She's like, he's just like, oh, that's weird. She's actually like, let's dig into this. What does it mean? Blah blah blah. So I just ain't looked it up yet, but she just sent me something, and I'm like, interesting. Anyway, interesting. Excuse me, I have to look into it. Hold up. Okay. Anyway, well, such an interesting sync train. Sync train. Anyway, sorry. Just wanted to make sure it wasn't my friend being like, "This is what we're." I'm so bad with planning, as Eve will attest. Anybody, I feel like anyone who's ever done anything with me knows that I am bad at planning. I show up and I'm just like, "Let's do whatever." I'm down for whatever. Um, Cause so like Monday, he was like, "You want to meet up after work and we can go do something?" I was like, "Yeah." No research. He's like, "Okay, so what are we doing?" I was like, "I don't know." We ended up just going back home, but we stopped at Krispy Kreme on the way. Um, and yeah, it's fine. But that's why I'm like seeing if he has plans or if they've changed because I'm just not a planner. I feel like even for the things that I do plan, I'm just kind of like, oh, well, this is happening or that's happening. We can just like show up or do whatever. And then I show up and it's like closed or whatever. It's like, oof. So, anyway, maybe I will look before. Like, so the King of Cups of this being Scorpio is giving me the depths of water. It's like the deep. Scorpio is the deep. Um, scorpionic energy is interesting because it can almost, at least to me, symbolize the things that can grow in the absence of light. Most things on our planet depend on light, if not through photosynthesis, through eating something or consuming something that eats something that consumes that which photosynthesizes, right? The animals and organisms that eat the veg get the energy that the veg gets from the sun, and then the animals that eat those animals get it second, third, fourth, fifth hand. Excuse me. But in the depths of the ocean, light doesn't penetrate. Sunlight doesn't penetrate that far into the water because water is not a perfect mirror. Water is not a perfect transmitter of light, which is interesting, I guess. It's interesting because Like water is that empathic, connective, divine, intuitive element. But again, like light can only penetrate so deeply before it's just completely lost. Um, I'm sorry, I'm thinking about the dream I had last night now. Um, yeah, but in Scorpio, there are things that have adapted to survive without light. And that to me is like maybe not the superpower of Scorpio. It's something interesting and fascinating about scorpionic energy, just as like a sort of concept being the deep waters, dark waters. This is giving that whole like desires of one's heart being manifested. And the more familiar we are with the darkness of our heart, the better we'll be able to align these wish granting manifesting forces. The darkness of the heart doesn't have to be like necessarily bad, it's the depths of the heart, right? And I feel like even if one is aware of like fears, anxieties, worries, other stuff that is within those darker corners of the heart, it's almost like with an empowered awareness, you can almost like move those aside as the whatever manifest the heart's desires gets there. And it's not like bypassing or whatever. It's not self sabotaging. It is having enough self autonomy to not allow one's like emotions or whatever to ruin a good opportunity or to ruin a good thing. It's a deep knowing and accepting of oneself. It's almost like this tendril of light that is like, it's almost like this tendril of light that is a hook, but it's more like a magnet or a piece of gum. You know, when the quarter drops down the drain and you stick a piece of gum on the end of the string, and then you, in the cartoons, you just stick it to the quarter and then you pull it up. It's like, it's almost like the first thing that it attaches to is what's going to come up to the surface. And when we're not as in tune with the darker corners of our own hearts, for whatever reason, it's like that tendril of light, that hook of light can attach to something that isn't great. And then that's what comes up to the surface. Excuse me, right? Like, let's say that our deepest heart's desire is to be a celebrity, whatever, an actor. But, and it's say, like, let's say that we do our morning affirmations and we get really good at projecting like confidence and stuff like that. But we subconsciously feel like we're not good enough or that we're not going to make it or whatever. We subconsciously feel like, oh, well, someone else is a better fit or it's going to go to someone else or I'm never going to whatever because whatever. There are things that can help us sort of see and navigate those. But there are also times where we can use those things to mask. But a mask is immaterial. So the hook isn't going to attach to something immaterial, right? It's like water, basically. And you can't pull up water with the hook. So if the affirmations and stuff don't coagulate and solidify into something like real, which is basically the process of like shadow work and healing and learning to accept those things. And sometimes beliefs change, right? Anyway, it's like it's possible to hook up that like not feeling good enough or someone else deserves this or like I'm not going to get this because the within our heart it's possible that the I'm not going to get this is truer for us than the whatever we're manifesting or whatever. Which is why, again, like this King of Cups is here. The King of Cups is the one that, with his emotional mastery, he's the one that is aware. of his own depths and dark truths and things like that. And again, it feels like it's possible to navigate this in a way where the hook doesn't attach to those things. It's almost like the reverse, where it's like we don't truly believe that we're not good enough for something, but we're transitioning through the realization of the greater truth. And so, in that, we may at some points feel that like we're lacking in this or we're lacking in that. It's like having an understanding that we don't truly think whatever, but maybe still being so used to being told something or being so used to feeling a certain type of way that there's something residual. It's like there are residuals that are left. And it's almost like if the residuals are broken up enough, then the hook can't attach to them. Like there's nothing to hook onto, which is that kind of energy of like sort of like moving it and finagling it. You could also, it's like if you got, it's almost like so the hook is going down, right? Let's say they are treasure people who find treasure. And so you send the thing down, but there's someone who dives with the hook. And so, and this is like awareness or consciousness. You can like dive with the hook. So if it looks like it's going to attach to something that is not desirable, that is not this nine of cups, then it's almost like you can like divert it like it's underwater. So you can just like push it away from the hook and it'll just like float in the other direction. Or it's like if it starts to hook, you can like break it up and like get it off the hook so that the hook can find whatever. This is Scorpio, Pluto and Scorpio, with Judgment and the King of Cups. Pluto is in Aquarius and conjuncted the sun not too long ago. So that could be this alignment between like this scorpionic energy and but the nine of cups is here. The nine of cups is the concrete veil though. In this deck in particular, it's this like concrete veil. I think this concrete again is what's like being busted up. There's also a almost going not necessarily the price of things, but because this is less like a shimmery curtain and more like a concrete slab, it feels like it's going to be possible. Self sabotage is one way. Maybe it's a question, not necessarily a question of are we open to receive the things that we are truly, truly desiring. Maybe it's just a need to be conscientious of that. Okay. So I did have a thought to use the story engine to get like an anchor and a conflict, like multiple anchors and conflicts. Um, Justice is at the bottom of the deck now. And I love this justice. Under justice is the Five of Pentacles, the Three of Swords, and the Two of Cups, and the World. Interesting. So we have justice, right? Five Pentacles, Three Swords, Two Cups, the World, and then Five Wands. So we have one of every element, but also one of every element preceded by justice, but the world is also in the mix. Both earth and fire sit out of five. And then three swords, two cups. Five minus three minus two is zero. And you see like the zero in the world. But on the other side of the world, it's this reconstituted five. It's almost giving me, is it Maya Angelou? A dream deferred? It's giving me a dream deferred. I don't know if it's Langston Hughes. It might be Langston Hughes, actually. I feel like it's Langston Hughes, but it may not be. Let's just Google a dream deferred. Montage of a Dream Deferred, book by Langston Hughes. Yup, it is Langston Hughes. I was like, Maya don't seem right. I'm like, it's somebody I should know, but I don't think it's Maya. Oh, I wish I could read it. Can I visit? There we go. Oh gosh. What happens to Okay, yeah, no. None of that. I don't know why you're just automatically playing a little ad. What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun or fester like a sore and then run? Does it stink like rotten meat or crust and sugar over like a syrupy sweet? Maybe it just sags like a heavy load, or does it explode? It's almost like that dream deferred energy. It feels like as this five is being sort of whittled down, it's being, it's like everything is being sent to the other side of this world card. Now, we actually have all the fixed signs with wings in the world. So there's that Aquarius, Scorpio, Pluto connection. Also, that we have Taurus and Libra. Libra, Taurus, and Leo. Hello. But because this is the Five of Wands, um, because this is the Five of Wands, it feels like with this competitive energy, there's something that doesn't align. Oh my gosh. It's like there are these different aspects. It's possible. I'm not necessarily here. I'm feeling it as like the King of Cups, Nine of Cups, in that in terms of like we know ourselves deeply and intimately at this point, and we can navigate our own internal waters to allow ourselves or to position ourselves to receive something and not self sabotage it, regardless of how challenging or difficult or how much the ego may want to sort of like, you know, self sabotage or sabotage. Um, it's almost like this misfit like these components that need to work together are competing against each other or just not working together. The star, Aquarius, love it. With the Four of Wands. That is much better. I was just thinking that we're missing a four. I don't remember why. Maybe because four is the difference between five and nine. So this five of so the star is giving me just like this King of Cups, it's that healer type energy in terms of like whatever reason why these pieces don't fit together. Maybe the ego sabotages this, or the higher self sabotages something else. It's like the pieces weren't coming together harmoniously, right? But under the presence of the star, they can, and that like we have this Four of Wands energy. The Four of Wands plus this Five of Wands will temperance balance out this Nine of Cups. And it's a 5 and 4. It's not a 2-7 or a 3-6. It's the Five of Wands and the Four of Wands. Almost like there are certain conflicts that cannot be avoided. It reminds me of a thing that I said to my mom almost a year ago. um, and it's just like basically how sometimes we can dream, wish, or manifest beyond our capacity to receive or beyond our capacity to believe, like something actually happening. But it's almost like this understanding, because again, this Nine of Cups is a concrete veil. So it feels like it's the opportunity for a heart's desire to be granted or a wish to be granted or for something to happen, even when we don't necessarily think it will. Because of that, this Five of Wands energy is anticipated. And it's because it's this, again, like this Five of Pentacles, Three of Swords energy. If someone is too deep into the Five of Pentacles, Three of Swords, they won't be able to accept the Two of Cups. So that's why instead of this adding up to a 10, it sort of like subtracts down to 0. 5 minus 3 minus 2, giving the goose egg that is in the world. But on the other side of that is things sort of like all present. And again, it feels like the star is like the divine sort of knowing how big of a manifestation or how big of a wish granted this is. It's almost very much the energy of like someone who's offered something. It depends on who the person is, though. Some people will say thank you. Some people will smile and say thank you. Other people may be like, I can't accept that. That's like way too much. I can't. It's finding an avenue of harmony. I almost want to look before and after temperance. The Seven of Swords is at the bottom of the deck. Seven of Swords plus the Three of Swords would be Ten of Swords. And we saw that Ten of Swords earlier. It was in between the Page of Coins and Page of Pentacles and the Ace of Swords, which was this knowing and understanding of like things had to happen, something had to happen, something had to end in order for someone to receive something. And again, it felt like it was a realization early on. Like you get into the swing of things, and then you're just like, I wouldn't be able to do this if I still felt the way that I used to feel about me, or felt the way that I used to feel about this, or I wouldn't be able to do this if I still believed what I used to believe, or thought this was true or that was true, if I was still listening to this person or whatever. Something had to change, and it's the realization after we receive it, after it is received, of like, that's why something had to change, transform, or end in some way. Cool. Well, it's 4:15. I've been live for like an hour 20. I don't know if this is all Aquarius season, if it may be like Year of the Snake, if it's 2025. But I have seen the Nine of Cups, and shuffling today, I've seen it a lot. Now the Chariot is at the bottom of the deck again. See, I love the light and dark of the this. This is you. This is us. This is whoever that sits between, that balances these two forces. Under the Chariot is the Nine of Wands. So we see it whole, and we see it sort of being held together by the star. Instead of the star pouring out two jugs of water, it's like the star has 5 wands in one hand and 4 wands in the other. It's balancing this 5 of wands, 4 of wands energy. And that is Aquarius. So it's interesting that we see all 9 together here with the Chariot. The Chariot is exactly what I was saying, like this King of Cups energy is. No problem. Thank you. Always a pleasure. So this Chariot, it's being able to remain open. It's also like not needing to be perfect. I feel like, or not needing for things to be perfect, because it's a trust and a reliance that like things will work out. I think when we don't have it, it's a lot easier to like need to know every single thing up front, or to me, or need to be so involved in every single detail. I think there's also supposed to be a message of encouragement with the Chariot and the Nine of Wands, where it's like it doesn't matter, where it's like what you've been through doesn't disqualify you from moving forward in a certain direction. Um, it's like, even if you're, regardless of how you feel about everything that you've gone through, regardless if you're like bandaged, bruised, bloody, beat up, or if you're like perfectly fine, just holding the line. It's like the Chariot is coming. This Chariot honestly feels like the horse. It feels like there's a 6 of Wands energy that results after this. And the Chariot is almost like the horse that the 9 of Wands will ride in on, in that 6 of Wands energy. And the 9 of Wands almost feels remote, like far removed from the front lines. Like this is an outpost or something that the 9 of Wands is holding. And it may actually be because the 9 of Wands was holding the line in some way, excuse me, that victory was able to be had. But it doesn't feel like the 9 of Wands is necessarily aware of how they contribute or what their presence really meant. Right. Because the 9 of Wands held this post, there was something or someone else that couldn't access the other side. So it's like it kept a key, whatever, safe. 9 of Wands, 7 of Coins. I think I wanted to just pull before and after the 6 of Wands, but oh, go goodness. How did that? This card is lost. It is lost. Oh, but now I'm curious. It like went behind me. I'm gonna pop up the AFK screen. I'm gonna find this card, and then I will do final cards as I. Well, let me just text him. I'm gonna have to. Um, all right. Oof, I might have to go like so. The sun is about to set, and my night vision is not great. Fortunately, though, the lighting is good enough for me to semi comfortably, well, fairly comfortably navigate the city. Where did this car? Oh, here it is. It's the Six of Cups. Oof, it fell on the floor. Oh, I turned off the wrong light. The Six of Cups. I was looking for the Six of Wands. Oof. The Six of Cups, though, it almost gives me an energy of like a return to form. Let's say that when we were young, before reality sort of set in and everything processed through the filter of how likely is this to happen or how impossible is this other thing. Also, with the Six of Cups, it's almost the energy of like making a believer out of someone or something. Bottom of the deck is the Eight of Wands. All this like fire is starting to come in. Five of Wands, Four of Wands, Nine of Wands, Eight of Wands. Oof. Okay, now all these cards are on the side because why not? Turn them upright. Everything between the Knight of Swords and the King of Swords was on its side, which was quite a few cards. I don't think the Six of Wands is in here. No, it's not. Nope. Cool. Ooh, the Six of Wands. Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun? LOL. Oh, a dream deferred. This could be a like a childhood dream that is coming true or something. Uh, that's the Six of Swords. I take it back. Sorry. The Six of Swords is in between the Sun and the Four of Cups. I'm looking for the Six of Wands. I'm gonna find all the sixes before the Six of Wands. Huh? Six of Cups. Oh, here it is. Oh, interesting. The Six of Wands is in between the Seven of Cups and the Two of Wands. So two plus six is the Eight of Wands. But the Seven of Cups is here, which is an ace after the Six of Cups. Um, the Ten of Cups is still behind the Two of Wands. And then the Three of Wands is behind that Ten of Cups, with the Seven of Wands behind that. And then there's the Ace of Cups. That's the difference between the 6 and the 7. Oh. Okay. I feel like this 2 of Wands is looking away from the 7 of Wands because it's feeling like this 7 of Wands energy is looking towards the 10 of Cups, which is the numerological 1 of Cups. And then the 3 of Wands, the 7 of Wands, and the Ace of Cups. It's almost this like knowing that there's something greater. But in terms of like, it's almost like if you look at the 7 of Cups and you think about all of these different things, it's like seeing a connection between them, or it's knowing that you can find one thing that satisfies multiple. So rather than the 7 of Cups being like 7 different options, it's looking for the thing that can be used 7 different ways. Almost like looking for something with a versatility. But while we're finding, while we're looking for that ace, while we're looking for the thing with versatility, it's important. It's almost like it's important that we don't look for the versatile thing that accounts for or accommodates our own like doubts, worries, fears, insecurities, and stuff like that. All of the stuff that makes this, because again, like that would be the hook sort of attaching to something that we don't want the hook to attach to. If we seek something different because we don't feel good enough for the thing that presents itself, like that's not what we want to do. I mean, we all make our own choices and decisions, but it's like that's almost like that should almost like that shouldn't be a factor when we make the choice and decision that we're making, especially when the 9 of Cups, when and where the 9 of Cups is like concerned with that wish fulfillment. And it's like the ways that this Ace of Cups overflows, it's like it fills multiple of these cups. That's the sort of image here. Like going to the source. Cool. So I guess this is Aquarius season? Question mark. It's something for now. I don't want to say the wish fulfillment of the 9 of Cups is the Hermit, the Queen of Pentacles, the 10 of Pentacles. Hermit, Queen of Pentacles, 10 of Pentacles, and then the 5 of Cups behind that 10 of Pentacles. Not looking at the 5 of Cups isn't looking at the 2 Cups or the 10 Pentacles behind it. It's interesting, but it's looking at the Emperor. Like these 3 Cups, maybe that it lost because of an Emperor rather than the 2 Cups and the 10 of Pentacles that it still has. Interesting. Cool. Cool, cool. All right, let's get a final card. Let's, um, I'm just like trying to think of where I could go. Fortunately, one of my phones should be fully charged. Hopefully, I won't be waiting for a long time. I feel like I'll be all right. Oh, cool. All right, final card. 4 cards, please. 10 of Cups at the bottom of the deck. See? But it's so interesting because Ten of Cups and the Eight of Wands, like it is happening. Six of Swords, Four of Cups. And then the Page of Wands and the Sun. Six Swords, Four Cups, Page of Wands. Everything is here except for the Earth, and we have the Sun. Except for the Earth element. Bottom of the deck is the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords being minor justice, especially with the Sun card here, it's bringing that phrase specifically in love, but for whatever. It's that phrase of like, we accept the love that we feel we deserve, or we accept the love that we think we deserve. Like, that's the minor justice of the Queen of, that's how I'm feeling the minor justice of the Queen of Wands. Queen of Swords, sorry. It may not be what we truly deserve, but it'll be what we feel we deserve. The Four of Cups is the only thing that's kind of because the Six of Swords is that movement. The Page of Wands is something like new and exciting to be like passionate and enraptured by, passionate about, enraptured by. And then, of course, like the Sun is here, which is like the brighter days, happiness, joy, all of that, the good stuff. The Four of Cups is the only card in here where it's this question of like whether or not we'll take it. But honestly, because the theme or the grounding factor, the anchor for all of this, what everything rests on is that King of Cups. I think it's like we know ourselves well enough to not get in our own way, to not stand in the way of the Sun, to refuse that cup or to not take that cup. And it's interesting because we just saw the Five of Cups. The Five of Cups had the Two of Cups and the Ten of Pentacles at its back. So here's this Four of Cups energy, almost focusing on these three, where that ace is being provided. That Ace of Cups is the source of the seven. So again, it's like as we're making choices and decisions, and as we're picking, choosing, deciding, determining what is right for us, it's just to be mindful not to match that energy to our limitations or to our limited self, which is again probably much. Oh, there's Temperance. I was going to look for Temperance too. So we have the Sun and we have Temperance. Temperance was the balance of the Nine of Cups with the Nine of Wands. It's like we're not matching our manifestations to a yesterday or a decade ago where we weren't who we are now, or maybe we weren't ready. Right. And again, it feels like that's kind of sort of that Five of Wands, the Star, and the Four of Wands. Like the divine knows, the universe knows, energy knows where we are and what we've been through. So it's able to anticipate a certain amount of internal resistance, or it's able to anticipate some kind of reaction. Um, but the trick is like the healing and the work that we've done, where we don't have to allow that to stop us from receiving whatever it is that is for us to receive. So, again, I don't know. It's maybe a difficult line to sort of walk, depending on what circumstances are going on in one's environment. But yeah, I feel like that was kind of sort of just for like now. I don't necessarily think that was just Aquarius season. I think maybe I will still come back tomorrow and do a like anchors and challenges for Aquarius season. So maybe things that could possibly motivate us or something. I don't know. But anyway, I hope you all have an amazing whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. I hope that whatever you need along your path journey, where you find. And until next time, thanks for stopping by, Eve.